Welcome back to Supremely Black Podcast. This is your host, D Rose. Now, we're going to take this episode and talk about the diversity, equity, and inclusion situation that's still going on in Florida. I know this a couple of times we've actually talked about it. So, the NAACP president, Derrick Johnson, which I must add before we get into it, is a Republican himself, has asked for and pushing for black student athletes to take their talents to other places and do not support any of the Florida schools since they have agreed on this ruling to remove diversity, equity, and inclusion out of schools in their curriculum so it will no longer be taught. It's something they've been going back and forth on, but now it's gotten to the point to where Ron DeSantis and his crew and everybody else that supports it is going to stand by the decision. So now it's almost to the point where there's no turning back until I'm pretty sure to be appealed to try to get it inserted back in. You know, it's a lot of different things that go with that. So, you know, me personally, I had stated in an open conversation that why do we want our oppressors to teach diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially with me having a little sister that's in school, having younger cousins and siblings, things of that nature that are in school. I don't think that they're telling the truth in regards to what has truthfully happened with American history, and especially pertaining to minorities, right? I was quickly corrected in the conversation, so I want to thank the man and the women that I was around that was speaking about is that, you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion doesn't just speak on, you know, just things that directly impacted us like slavery. It talks about the policies. It talks about a lot of the laws, a lot of the things that may get easily swept up under the rug to not understand truthfully of when you have this group of people that are able to control the narrative of what they speak about of, hey, going to a different country, right? I was in Colombia recently. You would talk to people and they were like, I didn't think that, you know, having conversations with black people would be fun people because of how America puts you all out there. You know, if you look at certain stuff, it's like everybody's thugs, everybody's whatever hip hop is. And so like I told, I mean, you know, that's easily to be misled by. I mean, you can go to any country like America. Just if you think you go to, you know, Mexico and places like that, you think it's all messed up. I mean, look at how they had Africa being viewed until we really got on social media for people that have actually been able to travel there and see that this is actually beautiful. And not that the people that they show, okay, the kids, if you can give them 2 cents a day, you can save a family, a life, things of that nature. So I say all that to say anybody that can control the narrative can easily control your mind because of the images that they're able to put out in front of you, right? So I toggle back and forth thinking like, man, do you really want, and I even said in the group, do you really want your oppressor teaching DEI? And I still believe this, is that even though I've did my research, I've talked to people and that they do get people from well-spoken people from our backgrounds, our cultures to speak and teach DEI. To be honest with you, just from talking to teachers and some of the things that you're allowed to do with a certain curriculum, I don't know if that's really would have still been effective. I'm just going to be real with you. Some people may not like that, but I'm not too big on putting that type of power into people's hands. I'm more into if we have something locally that people can go to that's raw, uncut, unfiltered, and people are interested in it, I would say that would be more of it. And as a community, we could support them so they have time and are, you know, are paid, incentivized to make sure that they, you know, are teaching the correct thing. And there's a lot of different programs out there that does it, but I don't know if I would just push for that. But I do like what Johnson is saying by questioning or challenging the student athletes, because if you watch sports, you know that a lot of their football teams, basketball teams, hell, this is even across the world, are dominated by African Americans. So if those students happen to pull out of Florida and go somewhere else because of DEI, I think that will make a big splash. And I think he understands that a lot of stuff can be talked about, but when that bottom line is hit and that money isn't the same, I mean, just imagine every Florida team having all white, all Hispanic, all foreign team, and it doesn't have any black student athletes. I think that would change their mindset, is because even though you may want to be stuck in your ways, but if your school isn't competitive in this day and time, you get no ratings on TV, you lose all type of money, all type of equity, you're not selling out the seats, that impacts them more than anything. I kind of think in my mind of when the people didn't support the transgender lady that was on the Bud Light and they quit supporting, they lost billions. It was quickly fixed. So I understand where he's coming from with that. So shout out to Johnson for challenging the black student athletes. And I would say to myself, I agree with him with that, because certain groups of people, white people, anyone that's in power reacts when the bottom line has been impacted. Outside of that, you march, you protest, but if their money isn't getting impacted, the only thing they're going to do is send out a nice little email. Oh my God, we're sorry. We won't do it again. 2 months later, you'll be seeing the same thing, but those student tickets have been bought. Those people have signed those scholarships. They're enrolled. There's spring games coming on. Before you know it, you standing outside in the pep rally, cooking barbecue gator, pork sandwiches getting passed around, Hennessy, tequila, everybody drinking, having a good time. Nobody's thought about everything that has occurred on March 12th or earlier this month, right? So shout out to Johnson for that. Let me know your thoughts. And of course, if anybody that's listening to this is just more educated in regards to DEI, please drop the comments. What I don't want people to do is come in here and just say, oh, you all sound misinformed. No, just inform people that may not be as in tune with that. I've never been to college. I don't understand the curriculum of DEI. I can only speak to what I've seen being taught or heard about being taught in the grade schools. That ain't it. That's whitewash. Let me know what you think. As always, long live CC. I'm out.